Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ali and this is Kisty Reads. Today I'm going to be talking about my January TBR. Those are the books on my list for January to read. Now we all know that I am a mood reader, so I might not get to all these books, but there are several buddy reads that I'm really excited to get to, so I'm hoping to read at least those books this month. And I've sprinkled in some other books for good measure, just because why not? It's always better to have a large list of books to choose from. The first book that I want to talk about is actually going to be on my anticipated releases for 2021. So that video should be out in a few days. So stay tuned for that. And that is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. Now, this is marketed for fans of Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi and for fans of Black Panther, of which I am both, even though I haven't read the first series, but I know that I will love it. And I got an ARC for this in a Fairy Loot box a few months back, so I thought I would get into it in January since this book is releasing in February. So this book is basically about a girl who goes into this blood sacrificial ceremony for her village, and she's hoping to come out of there with the right color of blood. So what she's hoping for is red blood, and any other color is considered to be impure and bad, basically. So she goes into that ceremony and she finds out that she doesn't have red blood, her blood runs gold, and that is just not good for the village. So this woman propositions her to join this army of people who have impure blood, and I think also some of them might have abilities. And so that's what I know of the summary for the story, and it sounds so good. The tagline for this is also really compelling, and I'm going to read it to you guys so that you guys can understand what I mean by it just sounds really, really great, and I hope that it's intriguing you guys to pick it up and read it, because I think it's going to be one of those releases for next year that is just going to be on the top, bestseller list and all that. So it says, "Are we girls or are we demons? Are we going to die or are we going to survive? In this bold and immersive fantasy, a young heroine fights to save a world that would dare tame her and discovers she is her own fiercest weapon." So if that doesn't get you, I don't know what will, but I can't wait to read this book and review it, and I feel like it's gonna be a 5-star read for me. I can already feel it. The next book is a buddy read on Kate's channel, and I think her channel name is called Love Story or Kate's Love Story, and I'll link her down below. She has a little chat and she is casually reading this book with a bunch of us for the month of January, and it is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Now, this book came out in October and November, and I never got around to reading it. So I am trying to get this read in January with a buddy read, because it's always better to read a book with a friend and get to talk about it. It's one of my favorite things. This book is about a girl that makes a deal with the devil and ends up being immortal and living forever at the cost of never being remembered by anyone. And I think there's also supposed to be a romance with the devil, which sounds really intriguing and something that I'm really looking forward to, because I'm wondering how V.E. Schwab is going to shape that and how she's going to shape the book as well. And I also have heard that our main character reads a lot of books, so it's a little bit of a bookception novel, which I always also enjoy. I have really high hopes for this one, but I have heard a lot of mixed reviews of people loving it and of people really not having their expectations met by this book, so we'll see where I fall into that spectrum, but it'll probably be my first V.E. Schwab book that I read. The next one is another buddy read, but it's more of a personal buddy read, and that is going to be the Dungeons and Dragons series. It's the Legends of Drizzt, The Forgotten Realms, and this is going to be with my boyfriend, who absolutely adores this series. I think it's one of the series that got him into reading. So he got me the first 3 books. We're gonna start off by reading the first book. It's gonna be a reread for him, but a first read for me. This is supposed to be adult fantasy, and it seems pretty small, so I don't think it's gonna take me super long. He just really wants me to get into it, so I'm excited, and if you're watching this, you better be rereading it too. I don't know a ton about it. He has talked about it a lot, and I know of the game Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't know a lot about the book series, and everything that he has told me, I don't think that I could possibly summarize and make it a good enough summary for a video. So what I do know is that Drizzt is a dark elf living in a very dangerous, dark, magical world and trying to find his way and his destiny around that. So we'll see what happens, but I do hear that it's very kind of cruel and evil and dark. So that is something that I don't read a lot of right now, and I think it's going to be a really nice addition to my reading list for the month. If you guys have read any of the Dungeons & Dragons series books, any of the fantasy books in this realm, let me know. I'm curious to see what everyone else's thoughts are besides my boyfriend's. The next book is also a buddy read, and it is adult fantasy. It fits in perfectly with the goals that I'm going to have for 2021. That reading goals and channel goals video will go up, I think, later this month in a week or two, so stay tuned for that one as well. I'm really excited to discuss what I did in 2020 and what I'm aiming to do in 2021. I am hoping for the best, obviously, and I'm really excited about some of the stuff that I have in store for the channel and just have in store for myself, so it's gonna be a good year, I hope. And so the book that I'm going to be reading is also part of a series, and like I said, it's adult fantasy, and it is Malice by John Gwynne. This is part of the Faithful and the Fallen series, and there are 4 books in this. This is a series that I've heard nothing but good things about. I feel like everyone that's read it really loves it and has rated it really highly, and so I'm hopeful that I will also feel the same way. So I have about a 4 or 5 star prediction for this read. What I do know is that in this world there was a war between humans and giants a long time ago. I believe that the humans did win, but now as we read the book, the giants are kind of awakening and coming back into the picture, which is causing obviously a lot of fear in the world, and that's kind of where we go with the story, and that's what I know about it. Don't leave me any spoilers, but if you've read this series, you know, leave your comments down below. I feel like the booktubers and book reviewers that I trust a lot have all really loved this, and so I'm really excited to get into some more adult fantasy, and especially starting with this book. And if I love it, I know that I'm gonna just binge the entire series, so wish me luck. Oh, the other thing I want to mention about this series is that we are buddy reading it with Megan's Reading Revelations channel, and we are doing a live stream for it at the end of the month. So if you do want to read it with us, I will link her channel down below, and you guys can check it out too and join the live stream later this month. I think it's going to be a really fun read, so feel free to join us. The next one is also a buddy read. It is a buddy read for a book club that is starting this January, and that book club is called Moods and Pages, and it's going to be run by Donna Tsundoku, who is another booktuber on this beautiful booktube universe, and I love her channel. It is really good vibes. I will also link her down below so you guys can check out that book club if you want to. I don't run it, but I think it will just be something really fun to be a part of with Donna and her channel. And the book that we are reading is called These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Now this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling in 1920s Shanghai. We have these 2 warring families who must come together in order to save their city from this contagion that is coming to pass. So it is definitely kind of like a fantasy, maybe almost a little sci-fi with the contagion story as well. And there is a kind of enemies to lovers to enemies fantasy trope in this, and I just think it's going to be a really good read. The author herself is really impressive. She is in her early 20s, still going to school, still getting her bachelor's, and she has written this book which has been insanely well received. It's on a New York Times bestseller list. It's just popular everywhere, and I just think she's such a badass. Like, in her 20s doing all this, that is amazing, and I just can't wait to read this book and see what all the hype is about. I have a feeling that it's going to be a 5 star for me as well. I'm predicting a lot of these to be 5 stars, but they're all really well reviewed and well received, so I don't see a reason why they wouldn't be. So I'm hoping that this will be at least 5 stars for me, especially considering the author and everything. This entire book, author, everything just blows my mind, and I'm just so like insanely proud of the author, even though I don't even know her, but I just think she's bomb. The next book I want to mention is really more of a series, but I'm reading the first one in December over the holidays, and that is the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. So I'm reading the first one right now, and that's called A Court of Thorns and Roses. So far, so good. I'm about 20-something% into the book, and to be honest with you guys, I'm getting a lot of Beauty and the Beast retelling vibes from the first portion of the book. I don't know if they continue into the book, but it's just feeling very Beauty and the Beast. I'm not complaining. I don't find that to be bad. That's just really unexpected. I had no idea that I would be getting that kind of a sense from the book. So we'll see what happens. And so in January, I'm planning on reading either the 2nd or the 3rd in the series, depending on where I am at the end of December. So either A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the 2nd one, or A Court of Wings and Ruin, which is the 3rd book in the series. The 4th one is coming out in February, so I wanted to read them all in succession in December, January, in order to be ready for the 4th one, which comes out in mid-February. So I'll obviously be putting that one on my February TBR. The last book that I want to mention is one that I really have been wanting to get to. It has just been falling by the wayside, but I've heard some awesome booktubers talking about it recently, and that is Legend Born by Tracy Deonn. Now this book is an Arthurian retelling with a kind of secret magical school society. Our main character undergoes a tragic accident at 16 years old, and in order to escape that pain, she enrolls in this school for gifted students. And while she's at this school, she witnesses a magical act or situation, which leads her to discovering the secret faction of magical students. And it's kind of giving me the dark academia magic vibes plus an Arthurian retelling, all in a beautiful book and a beautiful cover. This is YA fantasy, but I've heard both adult fantasy and YA fantasy lovers rave about this book and how good it is. So I'm also expecting this one to be a 5-star read for me. I have a feeling that January is going to be a really good reading month for me. And I know I have a lot of books to get through, but I'm hoping that I can get through all of them and just power through. So reading sprints, here I come. So that's all for my TBR. Like I said, it's ambitious. We're hoping to get through all of them this month, and we'll see. The buddy reads will take priority, obviously, because I want to be able to read them with everybody else. And then the Gilded ones will also take priority because I do want to review that book for you guys on my channel before it comes out, so you can see if you should buy it or not. But I have a feeling that it will be positively reviewed by me since I'm expecting it to be a 5-star read. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the like button down below. And if you like my content, please go ahead and subscribe. It's always nice to have y'all here.